What's going on, my creative collective? Welcome to your July energy forecast, your July creative energy forecast, my darling Librans. So we've got a couple things happening. So on July 13th, I got my notes here. On July 13th, there's a full moon in Capricorn, which is very exciting. I feel like this is going to be a good time to kind of expand on the details that help passion take flight, right? So discipline, determination, but ambitious dreaming, right? Being unafraid of that because you have a plan. There's a process and the methodological approach, right? So also looking at where you limit your own expansion, right? How does your process or your rituals support your expansion? Does it limit that? Looking at also nourishment for the journey and the long haul, helping to manifest the big ideas that we expanded upon and released during the Sagittarius full moon and then the new moon as well, and setting, starting new things at that time. It's really using this energy to look at process. And that sort of practical determination to get stuff done. And to get stuff done, not just generally speaking, but also to get it done in this very grounded way that is deeply connected to your intuition too. So then on July 28th, we have a new moon in Leo, and that is really about expressing yourself creatively, but inward facing. So this is like an inward facing process and a beginning process. So starting anew, but I'm getting it to be more inward facing. So cultivating quiet, fiery traits that help to stoke your fire, for example. It's about soft strength and power, calling creativity back to yourself and letting that lay the groundwork, right, for the new. So play and free thinking as a way of stoking that inner fire are going to be quite important. Being unafraid of shining, right? Starting projects where you will shine, starting projects that will elevate your light, right? That help you to be a little more confident, or stoking confidence as a connectedness to your passion and inner fire, right? This is also about expressing yourself creatively and things to do with creativity and channeling your power, looking at how you govern your domain, right? Think of the lion, Leo, govern your domain. How do you do this? And what is it internally that allows you to start new projects? And how does that connect to your to the newness of things for you? So using internally facing joy as well to catalyze methodological progress. So we're flipping to July 29th. So the next day, Jupiter retrograde begins, which is a great time to use this energy to look at the first 6 months of the year and to see what is it that needed, what is it that worked and didn't work? How can we use this first half of the year energy as a reflection that will help us expand further, right? This is about cultivating skills and habits that carry us forward. Jupiter and Aries, and I wrote this down, Jupiter and Aries. So I talked to a lot of people. Many of them, my friends, are fire signs, so I was talking to quite a few of them. And it was a lot about personal power, independence, being really in touch with what's most important to your sense of self. Like, what is it that empowers you, your personal impact? And baptism by fire kept coming up as like a theme, like baptism by fire into your sense of self, into these values around your sense of self, right? Specifically with the lunar nodes between Taurus and Scorpio, what's most important to us, and going deeply into that. The Jupiter and Aries aspect of things was really about expanding on that and helping us to take action. But ultimately, it was really like a baptism by fire into your sense of self. So I think this Jupiter retrograde will be lending practical insight into what we need to expand into, into what we need to expand into from the inside out. And I also get the impression that this is going to call for some potential pauses on decision making. Not altogether. You don't need to stop making decisions. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But what I'm talking about here is just reflecting, right? Asking yourself, am I being impulsive, or am I staying true to what's most important to me? And ask yourself this. So this is a question that I thought of. So this is all mine. Might this decision require me to restore faith in myself later, or does this honor me and that faith in myself and who I am now, right? So being very clear about what you're doing and intentional. There's got to be an intentionality here. So this will be felt most strongly by your, cardinal signs: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. Feelings of external growth. You'll see growth, and this isn't predictive. Like, this is ultimately dependent on how you use the energy. But there's opportunities for this sort of external facing growth. And so the mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, will feel this second most strongly. It'll mostly be internally facing shifts, though. So their inner world will be much more rich. There will be a depth to it. But again, it depends on how you use the energy. Fixed signs are said to be least affected by this, depending on where other placements are in your chart. But it's really about integrating the lessons from the first half of the year. And while meditating on themes specifically for this month, I was kayaking, and what came up, it was like this moment where time ceased to exist while I was out on the water. I went over to this one area where there were trees sticking up out of the water, and there was this root. It was so thick. It was almost as thick as the kayak. And the lake I was on was a dam that was flooded sometime in the late 1700s, 1800s, something along those lines. So a while ago, but somehow this tree has stayed alive, intact underwater. And you'd think that it wouldn't be the case, like it would disintegrate and disappear. I know it's likelier to happen in saltwater conditions, and this is freshwater. But still, it brought to mind just the way that we forget specific things. And I made notes for that. And the concept that came to mind was rememory. It's from Toni Morrison's book, Beloved. Memory is like a constant knowledge that we have, and it represents things that we really willingly recall. Rememory looks more at the things that we forget that we knew. So things that we forget that we were aware of. And it really struck me as like the rememory of the earth, like the things that the earth shows us, that how that feels to remember something so beautiful being there. And it's there the whole time. It's there right now as I'm doing this reading. It is in that lake. It is over in the lake underwater. It's been there through winter. It's been there through seasons, but we forget it. We forget that it's there, right? And we can ask about the sentience of the lake itself. Does the lake remember it? Well, I would believe so, because it has a completely different concept of what's there. So rememory can represent more trauma-based remembering, but I was thinking about it in terms of the beauty that we forget, that we behold, that we forget, that we have in ourselves. So it's like parts of the earth in ourselves that we forget we knew. I wrote this down because I think of the dam as sort of representative of these human-made constructs, be they social structures, be they institutions, be they beliefs that we have. So human-made constructs like dams repress, but when we stumble upon them, we see not the hard edges of human, but the soft lines of the divine in the way that the life expectancy of wonder carries on. So that I wrote, that's my own words. So, but just thinking about it in that way, like the life expectancy of wonder, right? And thinking that when we repress our natural beauty, it persists, and it's about stilling the waters long enough for us to see the rich nourishment it provides the ecosystem. So that was a big theme, and it's just this Cancerian energy, this watery energy, facilitating that beautifully connected, intuitive, graceful reminder of what's been there the whole time. So I just feel like that was this fantastic entry point. Of course, I put the book away again. I'm going to get the book for the deck that I'm going to use today. Give me 1 second here. Okay. The Journey of Love. So we're going to pull here. I already set the intention for the reading. I did that beforehand because I knew these would be a bit longer, because I was going into some transits. And by transits, I just mean astrological stuff. So Spirit, what messages do you have for my fantastic Librans for this July creative forecast? Messages in our highest good, please, and thank you. Whoop. Oh, the communal dance, a little bit of 11th house energy, but just so beautiful. Is that a 5? Yeah, it's like 5th house. Like I heard 5th house. This could be about like the dance between, because I see a heart here. This could be like dances that we do with partnerships. There's also a full moon here too, so that could be the full moon in Capricorn on the 13th. Spirit, what messages do you have for my fabulous Librans for their creative forecast in July? So we have Sacred Convergence and Guardian of the Soul family. So I feel like Ancestors that have passed might be figuring quite prominently right now through dreams or synchronicities, messages. It could just be family configurations as well that are really important to you or for you right now, for your growth, for your well-being. I'm going to read the communal dance to you because I really like that. That stands out as very strong energy for you, Libra. Okay. Lover, you have been alone too long. Your community calls you to surrender your isolation for this moment in time and instead join the cosmic conga line. There's an image for you. Do you know how special you are? So much so that this community would not be the same without you. Your individuality and uniqueness can only enhance this group of souls that calls you to dance with them. Men and women, human and spirit, heaven and earth. Your community is vast and rich and has much to share with you. Be lifted in celebration of belonging. Recognize that you are part of something great. Can your heart grow warm with recognition? You belong. You are meant to be part of this great dance of love awakening on the earth. Your heart is already beating to the rhythm of the music. That's so good. This oracle brings you guidance. You are being drawn into a new community that is more aligned with your innate spiritual vibration. You'll feel more at home there, and you'll be able to share your gifts and talents more freely and with greater support. Let go of relationships or situations that you have been holding on to out of fear. If they are meant to continue with you, they will remain. If not, they will fall away, creating space for new connections to come into your life now. I'm hearing a lot of new. This is not a time to hide in what you have known, but to be open to playful connection with kindred spirits soon to meet. Beautiful. I love that. Okay, so we're going to pull some cards here and see where this takes us. Spirit, what messages do you have for Libra for their July creative forecast, please and thank you. Giving and receiving, so that's the Six of Pentacles. We have the Three of Wands, take the lead. A little bit of Aries energy there. Yeah. Positive expectation. We're releasing 19, that's the sun card. Shine. I love this. I feel like this is like the expansion. This is like Jupiter energy. But what I love about this is that it's the release. So it's like you're releasing attachment to happiness. And I feel like that's exactly how it finds you. Third eye. Yeah. There's like a knowing. There's a knowing here that's how this information, synchronicities, everything are going to be finding you. But you have to release attachment because I feel like that really does block. That blocks the flow. It blocks the flow if you're in that attached place because it means you're looking for things as opposed to just letting them come to you. So, Spirit, what messages do you have for my daily creatives? Goodness. By daily creatives, I mean Librans. Please and thank you so much. So we have the Emperor, there's the Aries energy, Page of Swords. I think there is maybe information that you were given or that you're receiving. Ooh, my ear's ringing. Ain't that the truth? There's the Three of Wands. There's information that you're receiving that's allowing you to not just expect a more positive outcome, but to act upon this sort of decided energy of the Emperor. Like there's a knowing, but this is like a fiery knowing that is taking action. It's a doing energy. It's a doing energy. King of Pentacles. Yeah, but that's it. It's like grounded. There's a way that this is decided action, but there's ways that it's very, you're anchoring it in something. So you're not just, what do I mean when I say this? You're not just taking action for the sake of itself, Libra. There's something that you're taking action on that is very deeply connected to something you value. And there's a way that it's like, how do I word the way I'm seeing this? It would be like having a project. And I don't know if I have, my Mars is in Aries and my North Node is in Aries as well. So sometimes I have an excessive amount of energy, and it's possibly ADHD. Some people have dismissed it as like tough childhood stuff, and they're like, no, you don't have ADHD. Well, I had it diagnosed, so thank you. But the ADHD energy, I find that there's like this excess of it sometimes. So if I don't have a project to put that into, I have to find ways to manage that energy elsewhere and otherwise by like running or things like that. So it's almost like there's like this way that there's something that that if there is that energy, because Aries is here, like I got that Aries energy off of the take the lead and that Three of Wands here, and then the Three of Wands showed up. So I see it almost as Aries showing up twice. So this very fiery, like, go energy. And I feel like you've acquired information that's helping you to know where to put this energy into something that's going to be very beneficial and to help bring more stability into your life. And if not a sense of stability, then certainly a sense of, yeah, I want to say stability, but it's like it's a sense of security and safety too, right? It's a sense of security and safety. Queen of Cups on Three of Wands and take the lead. Queen of Cups, Four of Pentacles. You're playing your cards pretty close to your chest about something though, Libra. Like it's not that you don't want people to know. I think it's just that you don't want to share because there's like something about being intimate with others that kind of makes you a little bit nervous. But I think it's more from a need to please. Like, I feel like that's more of what it is. Like, it's like the Queen of Cups is showing up in that codependent energy where it's like more diplomacy and less Aries, like the polarization of things, right? So it's like you're more committed to how other people are seeing things when you just need to care about you right now. And that sounds super selfish, but I feel like that's going to become quite apparent to you. This is Pluto energy here. I feel like this is something that Spirit's been trying to tell you. And I think that you'll see it. I think you'll see it and you won't really be able to unsee it. And so there is that. There is that. And the Eight of Cups, yeah. I feel like this is going to help you to take the lead, but the lead may look slightly different than what you think. The lead might include deciding what no longer serves you and saying, forget it. Like, I've seen another reader talk about this being like, enough is enough, right? Like, there's this like, F this energy where you're just like, no, I have to be focused on me, right? This is I think this is energy of, this is like another kind of decision. It's like an emotional decision, given the cups. I feel like it's one that you may not have wanted to make. And I feel like this is something that took a chunk of energy because it's sort of infused with Spirit's wisdom. It's infused with wisdom from Spirit. And I don't think that, I almost feel like that was slightly like an intervention. Yeah, the energies were just I feel like the energies were too much. Five of Swords, Eight of Swords. You could definitely do it. You could handle it. But I feel like there was an intervention to bump you along the path because there's something bigger that you need to be putting your energy towards. And I get that this was kind of like small, like it was like peanuts compared to where your energy needed to go, Libra. So we have 19, so that's the Sun card. We have Shine. So Spirit, can you tell me about releasing this attachment to happiness, to joy, to the light in the month of July? I'm hearing Capricorn. So Capricorn full moon may be quite important related to this, like releasing attachments. Yeah, very clear and intentional, but also clear and intentional but unafraid of facing the truths. And I think that may be the energy that you need to embody, because sometimes we can get attached to outcomes when we're in a fear place, like a place of fear, and we don't really realize that we're there. But it's just this, like, I'm getting that it's almost like having gum stuck to your shoe. Like, it's not like your whole shoe isn't covered in gum, but it's just something on the bottom that could become really annoying, because it's going to impact your energy later, because you're going to have to clean the gum up if it gets stuck in the carpet, or if you trail it around the house by accident. Like, if you bring it in and it stays on your shoe on the mat at the front of the house, and then it gets stuck to something, like, there's this weird trickle effect that I'm seeing. Not overly annoying, like it's not overly like oh no, it's a tower. But I think it's just this, like, it's something that's going to be annoying. So just make sure that you check for the energetic gum on your shoe, so to speak. And I think it'll come, you'll know it. The third eye is here, which strikes me as some high priestess energy too, where it's like you'll understand this. You're going to understand it because of different synchronicities, but also you're going to see it's going to be something related to your happiness. Like, you might have placed your happiness in another person. You might have decided that that's who they, there's a lot of wisdom inside right now too. So overall, it's like you may feel like you're looking outside of yourself for answers, right? The Page of Swords. You're looking outside of yourself, but what is within you is really, that's where you need to find the peace. This is like peace of mind, right? You're arriving at a specific peace of mind, and the Hermit energy is here. This is Virgo energy, and sixth house. It's here, I think, to remind you. It's here to remind you of your power on the one hand. On the other hand, I think it's here to remind you that when you're trying to be everything to everyone, you have to be really clear, because you'll start to get attached to the outcomes if you're in that space, right? Because it's looking for a validation, right? It's looking to external circumstances to tell you something about yourself that you're not telling yourself. And the Queen of Swords, I think, is here to say, cut that out. Right? There's a clarity that you're going to come to where you're going to see what needs to be shifted and changed. And you're going to have the ability to do it, but you're going to have to trust yourself more than maybe you do right now. And you're going to have to trust yourself. You're going to have to trust that you can take the actions necessary to do it. Yeah, Chariot. You're going to have to trust yourself, and you may not feel like you trust yourself. And you're going to have to trust yourself, and that you have what it takes to take action. This is Cancerian energy. We're in Cancer season. I feel like this is very relevant to July. So I feel like there's something that's shifting a little bit here, Libra. And I don't know if it's necessarily related to the Jupiter retrograde. Yours is among the cardinal signs that are affected most significantly. But again, it's not about whether or not, it's how you use the energy, right? So it's not something to be like hiding under the blankets about or anything like that. You don't have to lock the doors. I mean, lock the door for sure, but not for that reason. Right. So Spirit, what messages can you offer on this third eye and how the light gets in? Intuition is going to be very, very, a very big deal for you, Libra. It's going to be very important. Yeah. Because I feel like, it's like you're reaching the end of the point where you will cease to be able to look to external circumstances, and you're going to have to trust yourself. So it's like your life is like arranging it so that you can do this dance with other people, but from a really authentic place, from an authentically connected place, so that you're not in a way using relationships to validate what you need to be validating for yourself, right? You won't be able to use them in that way anymore. And I don't think anymore, that sounds so like a total thing, but I feel like this is like the end of a cycle. Yeah, it's the ending. And I think this is ushering in a new beginning for you. I think this is bringing in a new beginning of all kinds. The Death card is really, it's transformation energy, sure, but... yeah. Stuff that you can't really see. This is like stuff going on under the surface. So that's where, again, it's like paying very close attention, not just to your intuition, but understanding the connection between your intuition and your emotions, right? And I feel like there's an element of being unafraid of speaking your mind right now too. Being unafraid of speaking your mind and asserting yourself, right? And doing so fearlessly too. Like doing so fearlessly. Yeah. The choices that we make in our connections. So the choices that you're making in your connections and how you are communicating your needs, communicating yourself, with this Aries energies here and the Jupiter retrograde in Aries. I feel like there's a way that you need to stand up and communicate your sense of self and be very clear. Like, this is no dice. No, thank you. Thank you, no, thank you. Yeah. There's something quite powerful about your energy right now, Libra, and I think it's less about external manifestation right now, and I think this is more as well. This could be the new moon in Leo on the 28th, but it's like the internal facing energy. How are you building your joy and your happiness? And the way that you shine from the inside out. How are you relying less on what's going on outside of you to dictate the terms of that for you? How are you doing that? You don't have to have an exact answer. Like, it's not like, give me the answer now. It's not like that. It's more so saying, how is it that you're doing this? How is it that you're building your life in that way? And in a way that supports you and is compassionate towards your beautiful self. And remembering that you do have a beautiful self, okay? Spirit, what messages do you have for Libra, please? Electricity, yeah. This is like, I feel like this is like the raw energy that you are internalized, but like it's like you're alchemizing internally. You're working with this internally. And I feel like it's almost like magician energy is what it feels like, to be completely honest. Spirit, what messages do you have? Thank you. Water. Oh my gosh. Every freaking sign has been getting water. Meditate with water. I feel like this is going to be a huge theme this month. Meditating with water, meditating on water, trying quantum jumping techniques with water. It's not necessarily new, but it started to show up in the algorithm, like in the feed and stuff like that. So for me, and this was more recently. So give it a try if you look up, I think it's Brian Scott is the channel's name, or the person behind the channel. And he talks about doing this, and you can look up other examples of it. For some reason that's been coming up. So quantum jumping with water could be one example. It's based on Masaru Emoto's research with water and the way that it takes on a specific character and look in terms of the crystals, which is brilliant. I heard about that when What the Bleep Do We Know first came out. That was where I was introduced to it. So like 2007, 2008, I saw like the OG version of This Secret with Abraham Hicks in it. And then I watched What the Bleep Do We Know shortly afterwards. And like, I just dove right into Masaru Emoto's research, and I found it so interesting. So maybe looking at that, and how are you allowing water? Like, how are you using water to speak? And how are you using water, allowing the universe to speak to you through water? How are you using water to care for yourself? Because you are also largely water, right? So keeping that in mind. Spirit, what messages do you have to close out this reading for my wonderful Librans for their July creative forecast? You have what it takes. More water imagery. My gosh, Libra. I mean, this could also be air, but it strikes me as bubbles and stuff like that. So you have what it takes. There could be some big things that you're tackling this month, like hills you're climbing. But I get that it's a lot of internal facing energy. But you still do have what it takes. You could not, so I firmly believe, and some people might say that's naive, but you know what? I've lived my life up to this point and done amazing things. I've had incredible opportunities. So I would like to think that this is true, that you wouldn't have the idea to do something. You wouldn't have the idea to be something. You wouldn't have the idea that sparks your interest if you did not also have the tools with which to complete it and to bring it to fruition in your way, for you, specific to you, not on other people's terms, on your terms. You would not have that spark in you. Your creative spark would not go ding, 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 ding. And, you wouldn't want to research that thing or do that thing or put it into practice or figure out how to do it. And it starts with a couple really well-placed questions. But that's it. It starts with a couple really well-placed questions. That is all. So I think that needing to remember that you have what it takes absolutely is vital right now. It's vital. So, Spirit, what additional message do you have to close this reading out for Libra, please? Things are not as they appear. Yeah. And I think this is like, don't let your fears talk you out of your light. Don't let your fears talk you out of Like this is the attachment piece too, right? Attachments can make things look fuzzy because we see the attachment instead of the thing as it is. We see the attachment instead of the person as they are. We see the attachment instead of like the outcome as it is, right? And that can really make us feel like something is much bigger or harder or more difficult or more abstract or more out there than what it actually is. So when it comes to making decisions this month, I feel like your creative energy is going to be best used to remember to I guess like there's a lot of energy here of being unafraid of declaring what it is that you need and allowing this sort of this soft grace, like the water, soft leadership. But I also think that being unafraid of knowing what you want and being very clear and inside a sense of integrity with yourself, because you're not only aware of what you want, you're then grounding that in something outside of yourself, that you're not relying on positive expectations alone. You're also relying on information that you've gathered with this Page of Swords, and you're allowing that to change the tides, to shift things for you. And that it's like it's a different way of manifesting. It's like actively participating. It's a participatory manifestation process. There's no other way of looking at it. That's exactly how it is. So it's making sure that you anchor in that. But Libra, that is your reading for July, your creative forecast. So if this resonated, please give it a like and subscribe if you are not already part of this channel. If you are, thank you so much. I'm very grateful that you're here. And there are other ways you can connect with me on the channel, so feel free to check that out. But if this is where we part, I hope that wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum, morning, afternoon, or night, I hope it finds you very well, my lovelies. Take care. Have a wonderful month.